Okay, welcome back. I'm in Vermont, and that bright thing up in the sky is the sun, which I haven't seen in days. It's been nothing but rain and cold and wind since Sunday, late Sunday. It's just rotten. The forecast does not look good either. Out of the next 14 days, I believe 12 of them are calling for rain, and that's making conditions on the trail just horrible. And I've said it before, nothing good comes from hiking in the rain. The trail gets treacherous, and I'm only just into Vermont, but it's holding true to its name of Vermud, because that's what it is, heavy-duty mud. Now, I've been hiking in the rain since Georgia, but I haven't really seen the trail turn into the muddy conditions I'm experiencing now at all. And this is just deep. I don't know if this stuff ever dries up. It's just a mess. But that's what it is. Anyway, finished up New York. Was close to the state line when I posted the last video. New York was surprisingly difficult. Very concerned with the ticks, as I said. A lot of things, though, to see going through New York. I enjoyed it, but it was surprisingly difficult. Connecticut, you can go through it very fast. I also noticed it's very expensive. Since, I would say, Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Mass, becoming very expensive for lodging options and resupply. Resupply, those big box stores are out there if you know where they are. They're typically miles away, and if you can get a ride, great. Otherwise, it's convenience stores, and they're a total ripoff, but again, it's a convenience store. You're paying for the convenience, so that's what you have to do. I also learned that buying food for one person actually costs more than buying food for a group. If I go to a big box store to buy food, I get it at a great price, but it typically comes bulk, not what I need, so I have to take many more things than I need. And now what do I do with that extra food? So it's actually a little pricey when you're alone to do it that way. And the convenience store is just outright pricey, but that's what it is. Lodging is getting very expensive too. In New York, you can find a couple of options. Jersey, there might have been one or two as well, but Connecticut, I haven't found anything. Well, I take that back. I did stay at one hostel in Connecticut that was affordable, possibly two. But from Kent, Connecticut up to Salisbury and everything in between, very, very expensive. They have B&Bs. Most don't have motels, but the B&Bs are like $200 and up. That's pricey. I don't know any thru hikers that are looking to spend that kind of money. Especially we're just looking for a bed and a shower and then get out. But I just noticed the town's very pricey. They look like they're kind of preying on New York City people for the weekends that are coming up for the Connecticut experience, and they're willing to drop that kind of money. But thru hikers typically aren't looking for that. So trail through Connecticut was pretty much enjoyable, I thought. There was a section that I found closed, the Saratoga mountain range, and it was closed for wildfires. So when I got there, the bulletin board had postings on alternate means to continue north, and instructions. And they actually had a red ribbon crossing the trail with a note not to proceed. So these fires, I guess, have been going for days up at the top. And additionally, on top of the fires, there's a rattlesnake threat, because I don't know if it's the firemen putting the water on the fire or if it's the fire itself that's causing all the rattlesnakes to scurry from their habitats. And the firemen have been reporting high activity of rattlesnakes while they're fighting these fires. So that was a problem too, and I can't say I would miss that. So I ended up road walking through this portion of Saratoga mountain range on, I believe it's Saratoga Road, and it goes through the Saratoga Indian Reservation, which wasn't on the trail, but it was a pleasant surprise to go through there and just check out some of the culture. That was nice. It was a very hot day that particular day. I think you had to road walk between 4 and 6 miles, I would say, to get into Kent, Connecticut. Once in Kent, I did get coffee shop and dinner. Took the opportunity to recharge my phone, but then went back on the trail to a shelter to overnight. because there were no options in Kent whatsoever. There might have been a couple of B&Bs, but again, you're talking $200, and it definitely wasn't worth it. So I don't know if I would say Kent, Connecticut's a hiker-friendly town, or a trail town for that matter, because the options really are so few. I do believe it's listed as a trail town now, Kent. And up along the line, Salisbury I stayed at. Again, very, very expensive town. Same thing, expensive options all around. There was 2 hostels in Salisbury that were affordable. And not all hostels are alike. I have a couple of slide pictures later when I'm done talking. They'll come up. And they show, I just took pictures of the kitchen of this particular hostel myself and a couple of thru hikers stayed at. And I was really surprised. Very affluent town, very affluent town. And being the only 1 or 2 hostels in that town, knowing that so many thru hikers are coming through, I would have thought that it would have been somewhat of a gold mine, an incentive to keep the place nice. But you know, I think the pictures speak for themselves for the kitchen. Bunk rooms were fine. People were very nice, friendly, but the place looked like a tornado went through it. It was pretty trash. So the people I were with, we decided we were just going to eat out, not use the kitchen. I don't think we could have used the kitchen if we wanted to. It was really that bad. But anyway, the only thing we did on the property was use the bunks and the shower and leave the next day. I was just surprised. Again, nice people. By all accounts, should be a nice place, but it was pretty trashed. And I haven't seen anything like that along the whole trip. So, ended up leaving my trekking poles at a hostel and didn't realize it till I got back on trail. And when I went to retrieve them from my pack and they weren't there, the van had already left. And I had no cell phone signal to call and see if I could get them to turn around. So I had to go about 100 miles without my poles. I was given a spare pole that was functional, and I just cut a branch and used that as a second pole, and they worked fine. But I don't know how people do this trip without poles. They save your life several times a day, and I felt lost without them. But I have since retrieved them, so happy about that. And I didn't know if I should just let it go or whatnot, but they were $150, and they haven't given me any problem since I started, so that's $150. Anyway, moved on into Massachusetts, and the forest is really changing to that New England alpine forest. Very nice, I enjoyed it. I'd say 50% of the time you're on a carpet of pine needles, no rocks. I know, in case you didn't know, I was complaining about the rocks in the last video, very subtly, but I did mention it. And I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of Connecticut and Mass, not terrible. I mean, yeah, you'd hit you a couple of spots here and there, but all in all, it was enjoyable. The forest is changing. I like it. I like this New England type forest. And a lot more water. Haven't had a lot of mud. And in Mass, there are areas, marshy areas, but the ATC trail volunteers have those boardwalks. Some of them go for thousands of yards. So if they weren't there, you'd have been probably up to your knees in water, but not bad at all. So weather was very hot. Did have some heavy rain in New York for a while, probably 2 days, and it was cold. But through Connecticut, very good. Through Mass, very good. Hot, but no rain. And now I'm into Vermont. As I said, the sun's out right now, but the sun hasn't been out in like 3 days. It's just been rain, cold, and wind. And the forecast for the next 14 days is rain for 12 out of the 14 days. The locals tell me this isn't normal. It's usually done by now. But even early into Vermont, I'm seeing heavy-duty mud. And oh gosh, there's no way it's going to dry up probably through my run through here. I'm told that it is usually drying out by now and the rain's usually over, but that's not the case this year. So what else? Oh, Massachusetts, the Trailblaze markings, not very good. I mean, they're where they're supposed to be, but they're so faded. I guess it's been a long time since they were repainted. And I know this is done by volunteers, and I'm not complaining, but the markings are so faded that they're almost impossible to see on some trees, and if it were raining and the tree was wet, you wouldn't see them at all. So I find myself several times a day pulling the map because I've gone off trail trying to find my way back. I do have the Gut Hook app on my phone, and that has been a lifesaver and paid for itself 10 times over, so I'm happy with that. Anyway, New York, they were poorly marked, and Mass, they're where they're supposed to be, but they're just not as visible. There's a nice shelter in Mass just before Lee. It was a Goose Pond. It's a AMC shelter, and the guys who stayed there told me that the great pancake breakfast in the morning, they enjoyed that, and they have kayaks you could take out on the lake. It looks like a resort. It's beautiful. I met up with a guy earlier in Mass that I hiked with for a day. He was getting off at Goose Pond, and he was looking forward to what they had to offer. I continued. I told him I was really looking for electricity to recharge my devices, which was probably 5 miles ahead in Lee, and that's where I was picked up in Lee for a couple of days to resupply, see the doctor with the tick bite, and just retrieve some equipment that I'm going to need for the colder weather. But I did catch up with that hiker later. Sean's his name. He's from the UK, just outside of London. He said it was everything that he was told. It was very nice. He enjoyed it. Came across a trail stand in Massachusetts. Just came out on a road at the bottom of a trailhead. Wasn't sure where to pick up the trail again, so while I'm eyeballing to my left and right, I see this shack, and it says AT Trail Stands. So I moseyed over there, and it was a shed that was built by people that own a farm, and it's an honor system. Coal sodas, drinks, eggs, duck eggs, chicken eggs, all kinds of stuff. And it was you just leave the money and take what you need. And it was pretty nice. I spoke to the woman who owns the house, and she said it's her kids that actually do the work at the trail stand, and it was nice to see. It was unexpected. But gone is the trail magic. I just haven't seen it since Virginia. Some people told me they saw some in Pennsylvania, but it's not like it used to be. I was bumping into it all the time, and maybe that's unusual, but it was nice to see it in the first place. I enjoyed it. I also am very grateful for it, and said many times that this is people that are taking their own resources and they're giving it to complete strangers, and that's just a nice gesture. And typically they say the trail provides, so if you're having one of those days where you ran out of water or whatever, it's just a tough day, you come around a bend and there's ice cold drinks there. That's a spirit picker-upper, so that's nice to see. But excuse me, gone so far is the trail magic, and that trail stand, while that was nice, that wasn't trail magic, and I'm not complaining. We're not entitled to anything, but I'm just noticing a difference. Also, Southern hospitality is very real. People always talk about it, but when I was down in the South moving north, you could be walking on a road and people would just stop and ask if you're all right, if you need a ride. You didn't have to hitch for it. They just stop. That's just the way they are, and I find that amazing. And I'm just not feeling the love in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, even Mass. We'll see how Vermont is, but just not feeling the love here. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but rides are harder to get. Towns are further away. People just seem to be busy, very busy with their own thing. But I'll keep you posted on that, how that works out. So, the end of Massachusetts was Mount Greylock, highest mountain in the state of Massachusetts in the Berkshires. Just a wake-up check that the mountains are starting to come back. They're ahead, and the speeds will typically be slowing down. I made every advantage for slack packing, and if I could do the whole trip that way, I would, because you can really, move out. I don't know what my options are going north. I'm going to do a little research on it now to see, but going through the Whites looks like there's logistic issues, there's weather issues. The more I look at it, the more I realize there's a lot of stuff that needs to be considered going through the Whites, because there's so many restrictions and rules on where you can camp, where you can't camp. The huts that are up there, do you stay at them? or not stay at them. If you take a chance and a gamble that you can do a work for stay there, odds are not very good, despite what people say, that you'll get a chance to stay there. But I expect to be going through that in June, before the big surge of tourists and vacationers are taking those kinds of trips. So we'll see how that goes. But a lot of planning to do. I got to say, it's got my attention. So we'll see. I know many have done it before, but there's just all kinds of challenges, and it's been easy going for the last couple of hundreds of miles, and you could be a complete goof off north of Maryland up until New York and still pull it off, but going into the whites in Maine looks a little more serious and it requires more attention, so I'll have to do that. And the only thing that really bugs me, and I mentioned it even in the video clip, is this, what is the definition of waterproof? I mean, to you or I think it speaks for itself, right? I'm on my third, fourth pair of Merrills, and they're not waterproof. They say they're waterproof. They market them as being waterproof. There's even an expectation that it is waterproof, but they don't last. And some of them, you know, brand new, 2.5 hours into rain, they start seeping water in. So why do you charge more and advertise that it's waterproof if in fact it's not? And this isn't water coming in the top, this is water coming through them. So that's frustrating. I can't be the only one complaining about that. I had some issues that on my own boots, I took the opportunity to use some silicone in an attempt to seal them. I don't mean spray silicone, I mean the commercial stuff you use for caulking. But yeah, I was out in the water again, and they're leaking, so not happy about that. It's frustrating, and some people handle wet feet differently. Some people just marching around with soaking wet feet all day, and for some reason they don't have any you know, bad results. When I march around in the water, at the end of the day I have blisters, so I'm trying to avoid it, and I know you can't avoid the water and the rain. And I know when you get to the state of Maine, the entire trail is bridgeless. There are no bridges. All water crossings have to be forded, so you have to walk across. And I don't know if I'll be popping my shoes off every time to do that. I guess I'll see when I get there. That's about all I have. Hope to post a video probably next week. I would expect by then I should be in New Hampshire and really paying attention to the weather. But I am getting excited. Things are, you know, just moving along. The last couple of states were pretty quick, and the end is in sight. I just hope the weather's with me and I avoid injury and keep plugging along. But definitely concerned with the weather. I don't see marching into the whites with a bad forecast. I understand anything can happen at any time up there, but I'm not just going to blindly march in if the forecast is for nasty weather, because I've had the experience on rocks and in the rain. It's very difficult, so it's technically challenging going through there, and I think that would be pushing it. I don't know how many days I'll need to actually complete the whites. I'm guessing 5 or 6, and I'm not asking for 6 straight days of sunshine, but I'm not looking for 5 straight days of rain either. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, I'll see you next time around. Take care. Beautiful morning in the middle of a pasture, wide open. Just nothing out here. This is right on the Connecticut line, and there was a stretch through Pennsylvania, about 17 miles of just going through pasture as well. Pretty nice. Anyway, heading towards the tree line, moving on. Hey, my prayers have been answered. Nice trail through forest. A bed of leaves under your feet. I don't know how long it'll last, but I'm taking advantage of it and enjoying it now. Check it out. Without a bug net, I think you'd be going crazy. With the bug net, not bad at all. Get a bug net. The trail's blocked. What should I do? What should I do? Problem solving skills. It worked. It worked. It's like a superhighway. All of this is done by volunteers. A lot of work. Now that's pretty cool. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and there's a current Metro North commuter railroad schedule on a tree, and a trail to take you there. It's the Wingdale Metro North commuter railroad. So if hikers want to take a trip down to the city, it gives you all the information you need to know. Pretty cool. Getting into that New England forest. Beautiful forest floor, no brush or weeds or anything like that. It's just flat, wide open. Very familiar, I like it. Nice hiking too. Just rolling hills, carpets of pine needles and leaves under you. So pleasant change from even New York in a lot of ways. I was surprised with all the rocks in New York. I kind of hinted about the rocks in the last video, very subtly. You might not have caught it, but this is nice, very nice. Checking out. I was saying beautiful trail, almost no rocks in Connecticut here. Now just starting out, so this just may be a fluke, but it appears to me that the Connecticut ATC volunteers take all the rocks off the trail and then make walls and boundaries through the woods. Now that's something you could do, New York. They take them all off the trail and pile them up and make walls. And then the trail's just really nice. So something to think about. I got a thru hiker here. This guy's, he's not about fast, but he's in it for the long haul. Ooh, that's a snapping turtle. You can tell by the back of his shell, it's got what looks like teeth, peaks and ridges. So if you were to pick this guy up by the side, he would remove your fingers. He can come right around and take your fingers off. So I won't be doing that, even though you might be looking for the opportunity. Yeah, this guy can be aggressive. Anyway, see how the shell in the back isn't completely around? It's got the, I can only describe them as peaks. That's a snapping turtle. And if you were to pick him up by the sides, he would come right out of his shell, bend around and take your fingers off. So, if you were to move this guy, you wouldn't do it without a stick. It's common for people to see them on the road and think they're helping them by picking them up to move them, only to lose some fingers. Anyway, he's not moving now, but he was. I thought he was a thru hiker because they say the tortoise wins the race. Who's keeping his eyes on me? I'm told these guys eat ducklings too. They'll just... Like the ducklings will be swimming in a pond or a lake with the mother duck, and then these guys just swoop up and shoom, take a duckling down to the bottom. So, all right. Just for giggles, watch him go for the stick. Kind of aggressive. Woohoo! Yep, that's a snapping turtle. The other, like painted turtles, they'll just go in the shell and hide, but this guy wants to do battle. So, word to the wise, if you're not sure which it is, don't touch it at all. If it is a snapping turtle, don't put your hands on the shell, because, as I said, you'll lose fingers. Okay, I'm going. It's just for giggles. Yeah, see you later. Checking out. Hand pump water source. Right on the Connecticut line. Pretty neat. Now, right next to it, it's a beautiful stream as well, but maybe that's not running all year. Anyway, checking out. This is cool. It's by the Wiley Shelter. It's the Dover Plains Little Free Library. So it's stocked with books that you could read if you're at the shelter. Pretty neat, pretty neat. That's nice. Somebody obviously comes out here and changes out the books. And there's a little engraving there. To Maine, 735 miles. There we go. Checking out. You know, I typically come across these bridges everywhere, and you just take them for granted. You run across them and move on to the next obstacle, but how'd they get here? Typically these are Eagle Scout projects, and you have to really hunt all over the structure to find a little plate or emblem that credits them with making it. But I've seen a lot, and after hunting around, I've seen the plates on them that say which scout group made it, and it's pretty neat. So it doesn't look like much, but they're a help, and there's hundreds of them, so checking out. Beautiful spot to set up camp. Play hooky from work. Very nice. Interesting. A barrier across this stream, followed by like 6 feet of fencing above it, and then probably 10 feet of fencing that's posted all the way around. So I'm thinking this is some kind of wildlife game preserve, that they don't want the animals that are in there getting out. So we are in the vicinity of the Tudor estate, and I understand that they did have animals on a preserve on their property in this Pauling vicinity, so this could be it. Okay, checking out. You come out of the forest to these open fields, and the forest is pleasantly cool. Then you come out to these fields with brush, and it's just wide open for the sun. And it's oppressively hot and very humid because all the vegetation has dew on it from overnight, and now that's evaporating into the atmosphere. So kind of soupy. Oh well. 10-mile hill in Connecticut. First view looking west into New York. What I was really looking at is the building cumulus clouds. Supposed to be some severe storms this afternoon, isolated in nature. But if you want to know where the storm's going to be, just hang out with me. It won't be far. So I'm, I think, 6 miles from Kent. So probably 2.5 hours. And there's a shelter up there. There's a AT shelter, and not far from the shelter is the Village of Connecticut with a coffee shop where I can charge my phone and grab a coffee, and hopefully have cellular service to get current weather. All right, so long. An Appalachian Trail doggy, and he looks really hot. Hey, how you doing? Huh? Hello. You're hot. You're hot, right?
Yeah, we're all fun.
Yeah. Having fun?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Make sure she gets enough water.
Yeah, he's going to the river.
Good. Oh, swimming. McKenna, I think you would like this guy. How you doing? Housatonic River. This is Scatticoat Indian Reservation, tribal burial ground on Scatticoat Road, which isn't on the AT, but because of wildfires, the AT is closed between Bulls Ridge Road and 341, so you have to road walk through the Indian Reservation on Scatticoat Road. So interesting, didn't even know this was here. Yep, we're not in Kansas anymore. BMW motorcycles, BMWs, Mercedes. Salisbury, Connecticut. But I did manage to buy a cup of coffee. Big cows. It's a lot of beef. But that lady is always looking for the beef. Okay. Beautiful morning, early, it's like 8 o'clock. Looking at the Berkshires. Very nice. Okay, Massachusetts water's good too. This is crystal clear. There's some reflections there, I don't know if you can see, but very nice. And I'm told that the water just keeps getting better as you go north. So you can actually carry less. Checking out. What I'm finding in Massachusetts is that the blazers on the trees, the markings, trail markings, are incredibly faded. Some are not even recognizable as a blaze. This one's not bad, but I'm just noticing in Mass, there are very few. I know there are volunteers that take care of this and they do the best they can, but I found in New York, you had to pull the map out several times a day to make sure you're on the trail. And in Mass, you have a hard time just recognizing the blazes. So you have to go to other means of detecting the trail, such as the beaten path. Just hope you can distinguish that from the rest of the forest floor. But that's the way it goes. So by now you can detect the path, even if it's barely visible. I guess you get good at it. Anyway, that's it. Checking out. Pretty neat pond. It's in the vicinity of Beartown State Forest, I believe. May be in the park. Another Appalachian trail dog, Henna. And Henna has her own pack. Yeah. And probably getting...
She wants to get going. No, she's on YouTube. Paws on the Trail.
Paws on the Trail. Henna's on YouTube.
Our Facebook page is Eastern Backpacking.
Eastern Backpacking. We'll look it up. Thank you. Okay. I'm going through the Beartown State Forest. And the trail crosses this, I don't know what you'd call it, Forest Service Road or something. And I see these new signs, Airplane Trail. And I'm just wondering, is this the trail they used to go recover that wreckage some years back in Beartown State Forest, where half the family was killed in a plane crash. I believe it was a Piper, Saratoga, something like that. And because these signs look new, Airplane Trail, as if it's become a site now to go up and see the wreckage. I have no idea. I'm going to check it out though when I get a chance. It would fit the bill. We're in the right area. Checking out. Nice pine forest. Love the pine forest. Brings back a lot of memories as a kid. My brothers and I and some friends, we used to go to a pine forest near us. We'd take our bikes, and the bikes had baskets on them, and we'd load them with little day packs and food and snacks and stuff, and we'd just hang out and be kids. I always look for that same forest when I'm in the vicinity and never find it. I think that land has been developed and it's gone, but always liked pine forests. Typically free from ground bugs, but not mosquitoes. Anyway, moving on. frequent bear sightings in this area, except if you're me. Yeah, maybe it's the smell, I don't know. Anyway, onward. Although bears can't smell that great either. An AT stenciled privy. There really are no rocks. There really are no rocks. This is nice. Carpet of pine needles. Rolling gentle hills. Very nice. Another Appalachian trail doggy.
Hey, what?
Another Appalachian trail dog.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just a day tripper having a nice little hike.
Having fun. Good. Small village in Mass. The church. The cemetery. I wonder how many deceased people are in that cemetery. I'm going to take a stab at it and say all of them. Ba-dum-bum. I know it's old. Beautiful views. I don't know what road that is. Possibly Jerusalem Road. I crossed it once already. Anyway, onward. Okay, I see cows, but I see an energetic little calf that's running around, making it known that he's in town. Let's see if he runs around here. Maybe? Yeah. He doesn't look like he has a lot of calves to play with, but he's still having fun. I'm guessing that's Mom. Pretty neat. I don't know if I have to cross this field. We'll find out. Huh, something interesting. Appalachian Trail Stand. What could that be? I bet some young aspiring entrepreneur sells sodas and things like that. Let's see. Could it be? I'm thinking so. Never saw this before. From Georgia to Virginia, it's called Trail Magic, but New England, it's called Opportunity. Retail. Let's see what this is. Let's see. Yeah, we got a little sale going on here. Sodas $1 each. Now that's pretty sharp. Sodas $1 each. Eggs, duck eggs, chicken eggs. York peppermint patty. Feel the sensation. I think I might go for a couple of those. Oatmeal, Oreos, books, tools in case you want to build a rocket pack to expedite the trip. Pretty neat. Running Spring Farm. Right, that's pretty cool. I'm going to ask her if I could have one of those cows. How much are the cows? Okay. I guess we have an honor system here, so yeah, I'm going to indulge. By the way, I lost my trekking poles, so I had to fashion one out of a stick, and a hiker gave me a spare that he had. Mine were left at a hostel a couple of days ago. Oh, here's the owner. Hi, honor system?
Absolutely.
Pretty neat.
Worked for us so far.
It's worked so far?
Honest people on the trail.
Desperate people on the trail. But are you taking Federal Reserve notes still up in New England?
What are those?
These.
Are you taping this?
I am. I have a YouTube channel.
Oh,
And this is...
on it.
Okay, I'll show you off. What does this say on the top of that?
Federal. Okay.
So you'll take those. All right, thank you. I wasn't sure if we went in to this pasture with the cows, but it looks like we do. Yep. Boom, 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 boom. Cool cows. The life of a cow. Okay, back to business. So I stopped at the Appalachian trail stand. The kids who live in the house run it, refreshments and stuff. But gone is the trail magic. Haven't seen that in a while. Although I did open a trail kitchen last June in Bennington, and I'll put some slides up of that when I get up to Bennington, which was a lot of fun. It was in the middle of nowhere, just east of Bennington actually. Anyway, back to business.
For the first time in human history, we've never had to, we've had that, the luxury of being able to just immediately acquire whatever information we want. We've all created. Whereas the monument, yeah, I don't know what I think about it. It is beautiful.
Beautiful stream.
Wherever it came from.
Beautiful stream. McKenna, we got to come back here. Checking out. Appalachian Trail over the Mass Pike. Seen it 100 times. Now I'm walking over it. Onward. I-90 Mass Pike. Thru hikers run on Dunkin'. Even if the trip isn't a success, mission accomplished. Found a Dunkin' Donuts. Founded in 1955 in Quincy, Mass. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Checking out. Finally, at mile 1549, civilization. A Dunkin' Donuts. The view of Adams, Mass from Greylock. Not the best day, but good views. This is Greylock, and it is chilly up here. And a little breezy. Elevation 3491 with a topo layout of the maps in the surrounding area. Pretty cool. Bascom Lodge, which is closed. That's the price to pay for coming early in the season. And the tower is closed too, but I can get up just to get some pictures. Massachusetts. Pretty neat. And the tower's closed for construction. Checking out. Not a clear day. A lot of haze, ground fog. Views are good, but you can't see Albany. I thought I'd be able to from here. Still back up at elevation now, a reminder of it's still cold and the mountains up ahead will be twice as high as this one.